Back from soccer. I've already had 1,000 calories, so 250 grams of sugar in the lemonade. Now it's time for some shopping. Got cilantro and potatoes. And I'm going to buy a box of bananas. These look good, so I think that's what I'm going to do. I want to do like a fruitarian video, like going fruitarian, like maybe on a budget. Fruitarian under $10 a day or something. So that was 29 euros and some cents. I'm going to have to check I'll check the receipt, how many kilos of bananas it is, but you should have seen the faces of the employers. So basically 29 euros, it's around $30 for potatoes and cilantro. Actually, let's check how many kilos. So 1.6. Yeah, I'd have to use a calculator to see how many kilos I got. But yeah, the total 29 euros. That's around $30. And yeah, I think I'm going to go fruitarian for a little bit, do an experiment. Fruitarian on a budget. Classic. You know, the bananas look too good. I just couldn't resist. So that's the trunk. This is what's in the trunk. Just kilos of bananas. And I could have been a little bit cheeky with the cashier. Should have been like, I got some gorillas over for dinner. So yeah, I got to take the fun. Little bag of potatoes and waters. Classic. So we're back home, and this is 17 kilograms of bananas. 17 kilos at $1.35 a kilo. And this is 15,000 calories. We'll see how long this lasts. I'm going to have to be prudent. And these are Cavendish bananas from Costa Rica. Nice. We're going to be potassium maxing. One thing about the salt intake, if you want to counteract excess salt, I would recommend to have at least a 20-to-1 ratio of potassium versus sodium. Some people recommend a 50-to-1 ratio because potassium helps to secrete sodium and balance your electrolytes, and thus keeping you leaner and healthier for longer. Oh, and by the way, if you guys have any tips on how to preserve these bananas, maybe if they start getting a bit too ripe, I'll have to freeze them. But they should be good in this container right here. There's a plastic, and they will kind of ripen. There's a little hole over there, but that's going to be fine. Like if I could only choose 3 foods, if I was stranded in a desert island and I could only have 3 foods for the rest of my life, it would be white potatoes, it would be bananas, and rice. That's the staples. Imagine how lean somebody would get if you only ate bananas, potatoes, and rice, man. Cheers. Now we're going to make some lunch after soccer. Remember, I've already had 1,000 calories worth of lemonade. That's 250 grams of sugar and water and lemon. So a nice cup, this might be 700 calories. I'm going to cook the rice, and I'm going to have some potatoes. Easy peasy, no spices today. They're going to go in the oven just like that. Nice. Added some frozen veggies onto the rice, as usual. Making the sauce, just going to eyeball it. Okay, that should be enough. Get some tomato paste, as usual. A lot of tomato paste on there, and I'm going to add the spices onto the sauce. So oregano. I'll add the rest of this garlic powder. Some onion powder. Lots of onion powder. and black pepper. And to finish off, some balsamic vinegar. Just use the rest. Every little drop. All right, done. Gonna add some water and wait for the potatoes and rice to cook. Ooh, maybe a little lemon juice. What do you guys think? Just a little squeeze. Just added water and now I'm gonna mix it up. And this is a very easy, very tasty, no added salt sauce. Very low sodium. The only sodium is what's already present in the tomato paste. Very sugary, very nice. Juicy. Give it a try. And you could achieve the same result by cooking some tomatoes and adding your favorite spices and then blending it up. For the sake of convenience, I like to use the tomato paste, but whatever works. All right. Food is ready. Bless this food we're about to receive from thy bounty through Christ our Savior. Amen. Thank you for this meal. It is ready. A little bit of fresh cilantro. Cut up some potatoes, no spices, no nothing. And yeah, pretty good. Let's have a taste test. Wow, that's really good. It tastes like a pizza sauce, like an Italian sauce. The oregano does really do the trick. No salt, no added salt. It really makes you appreciate how the food tastes. You get like every little flavor. It's amazing. I'm so excited for my bananas. I don't know. We'll see. I'll try to go fruitarian for a couple days just to show people how it's possible. As long as you're eating enough fruit. And I'll be adding sugar, of course. I see it as a fruit supplement. The fruit already contains glucose and fructose, so by adding sugar, which is glucose and fructose in a 50-50 ratio. Wow. Yeah. And I want to do 120 days at least of no added salt, no oil. To renew my blood cells. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that a cool concept? That your red blood cells have a lifespan of 120 days. So 120 days from now, or 4 months from now, I will have completely new blood circulating. So I see it as like an alchemical process. It will be, there will be stages. Wow. And it'll be so easy because when you really know how to cook, right? It's like this is all simple. Just cut up the potatoes, no spice, just put them in the oven, easy. Just boiled some rice, just rice and water. I made the sauce. You guys saw the recipe. And if you know what you're doing, you can get a lot of flavor out of this. Oh, wow. No need to add salt. I really like cilantro. And they say there's a lot of properties. It's kind of like binding to heavy metals, so it detoxes your heavy metals. Which goes with what the Bible says in Revelation, how the herbs or the leaves are for the healings of the nations. Wow. You get a bite of rice, you get a bite of potato. You have no oil, no added salt. There is sodium. Every ingredient here, the cilantro, the potato, the tomato paste, the spices like the onion powder and the garlic powder, the rice, all these things have sodium. When people say it's dangerous to do no salt, they're talking about, like, even the water has sodium. 7 milligrams per liter. I think that's like more than fruit. So that's an extreme case. It would be dangerous if I was just like water fasting and sweating all day, you know? But because I'm replenishing sodium, I'm just not having excess, which is very easy to do. You saw me yesterday. I ate the whole jar of pickled onions and miso paste and soy sauce. That tastes good, you know? But McDonald's tastes good. Just because something tastes good doesn't mean it's good for you. And I'm not under eating. I got a comment today saying I was the A word. Saying I had some sort of, I don't want to say it. I don't know if I'm not allowed to say this word, you know. He was basically saying I have disorder eating. Flip it around. An ED. But I bet I actually eat more calories than that person. Like, who do you know that's smashing 4,000 calories plus, more than 4,000 calories? Because I wasn't accounting for the, excuse me, I don't account for the tomato paste and the vinegar. Those have sugars, it has calories. I'm sure the spices, the onion powder has calories. The veggies have calories. I'm not even counting that. So people love to project. And I get comments every day like, you gotta eat some meat, man. And they're like, this is how you want to look? And I replied, like, looks can be deceiving. What do you mean looks? You mean like Arnold Schwarzenegger or these bodybuilders? Yeah, they look big, they look. But how's their performance? Most of them, like Larry Wheels, nothing against them, but these guys, because of the steroids, they can't even get it up. And their balls shrink. Look it up. Larry Wheels doesn't even know if he can have kids. So, women can pick up on this. Most people don't believe in pheromones, but this is a thing. Women can smell or sense if you're fertile. And that's what makes you attractive. It has nothing to do with your big muscles. And men, as a society, we've been conditioned to think that we gotta look muscular, and girls don't really dig the muscular look, man. Speaking from experience. What a woman is looking for is your frame. How is your skeletal? Do you have wide shoulders or clavicles? How is your waist? Girls like a little tiny waist on a guy. It's a shoulder to waist ratio. And they couldn't care less about your biceps, really. Or your quads. No, we're gonna get a little lat, a little abs. I think chicks dig that. And also, most chicks are looking at your face. The body's kind of secondary. So I think it goes face, height, and then your body. And I guess status, whatever. That would be at the bottom. No. I don't know. We're kind of digressing here. I want to keep this channel all about the food, but people are always commenting on, you look so skinny, man. You gotta eat a steak. But that's kind of contradictory, because most of you guys say that sugar makes you fat and too much carbs makes you fat. But I gotta eat a steak so that I can gain weight or muscle. Here's the thing. Imagine, this is a scenario. Please don't try this at home. But imagine I started dabbling with some PEDs, some performance enhancing drugs, like anabolic steroids. Do you really think it's the protein that makes muscles? Like, if that's true, why do bodybuilders inject steroids? Plus, they drink a lot of protein powder and I wouldn't have to change the diet. If I started injecting myself with some hormones, I would gain weight. So how do you explain that? Protein doesn't build muscle. Hormones builds muscle. Plus, there's protein in everything that I'm eating. And why would I want to look like a bodybuilder or have their health? Most of these guys, once they come off the juice, they deflate and their health, they get health problems from it. So, do you think it's healthy to be like 200 pounds full of muscle? Come on, guys. I like to be lean. I like to be skinny. Yes, I am skinny. Compared to your average person, I am very skinny. You would probably think that I'm underweight. I'm that lean. But I'm full of energy, full of vitality. And I could theoretically impregnate many women. I could offspring a whole generation of women. But that's not my thing. I like to channel my chi, preserve my seed. But that's the topic for another video. And what people consider muscle nowadays is actually inflammation and fat. You see the UFC fighters, they cut weight, they look really skinny. That's what they would really look like if they were high carb, low fat. So I look like I'm a fighter cutting weight, but I'm not dehydrated. I'm not cutting out carbs. That's what they do. To cut weight before a fight, they stop eating carbs. They only eat lean protein, chicken, broccoli, and they cut out the salt. But they're like dying. They're on death's door. Whereas I'm ready to go. Want to go for a run right now? We could go for a run right now. You want to spar? We could spar. That's the thing about this food. It's very light, easily digestible. In a few hours, I'm going to be ready to eat again. And when people eat meat, it's because really they want this satiation. They want this. They're avoiding carbs. I don't do carbs. So the body has to eat something. But meat is very hard to digest. So that's why when you eat meat, you feel full. But that's because now the body has to rest and get rid of this stuff. And then you grab onto the caffeine and coffee and energy drinks. I don't do none of that. The only caffeine I get is maybe once in a while I have a Coca-Cola. And even then I have to be careful with it because if I have a Coca-Cola like in the middle of the day, I know that I won't be able to sleep. And I like to have my naps. So health, it all comes down to sleep, water, and sugar. How much rest? Do you sleep 8 hours a day minimum? Sometimes I sleep 10 hours a day. The more you sleep, the more you grow, the more you heal. How much water are you having? Are you hydrated? Are you pissing clear every 2 to 3 hours? Or is your urine yellow and dark? That's dehydration, man. That's hard on your body. And most people don't even notice. They don't even know what it's like to be fully hydrated or fully rested. But you can do whatever you want, man. But there are consequences. What would be the consequences of this diet? Is that you're skinny, you're lean, you have good blood pressure, you have good levels of cholesterol. A lot of people like to say, like, your bones, you have osteoporosis. Bro, I train with professional and semi-professional MMA fighters, boxers, kickboxers, wrestlers, jiu-jitsu. And they always tell me how my bones feel like they're made of steel. So for you guys, oh, your bone, like, you want to, does that look like I have fucking osteoporosis? I'm not a violent person, right? This is just to demonstrate. But I could literally carve my elbow into your skull, or a knee, or a shin. I played soccer barefoot. I always run in barefoot shoes. So, all the protein bros couldn't even do that. You pull out the barefoot shoes and you go for a run, I'm sure you're pulling out something. At soccer. I play a lot of soccer too. There's these guys. You know, some of them are older veterans, but we do play with younger guys in their 40s, 50s. There was this guy, he's a personal trainer. Nothing against the dude, I like the dude. He's a nice guy. And he's like a beefy, you know, you could tell that he lifts weights and stuff. He literally did a couple sprints and he pulled out his hamstring. Meanwhile, I'm out there barefoot, changing directions, fucking jumping in the air, scoring goals. And when there's tackles, and sometimes we don't wear shin pads. I don't. Some people do. But when we clash shins, a lot of the guys are like, oh man, you're like made out of metal. So people like to judge a lot on your looks. Again, looks can be deceiving. You know, I used to wear a mask for this channel because I don't really care about this YouTube thing. There was a sugar diet movement and I wanted to just kind of spread my experience because I've been doing the sugar diet or high carb low fat for a couple of years, 6 years now. But I was always in the shadows. I would go in the comments, but I wasn't really. And anyway, I would wear this mask, right? Don't ask me why. I don't know why, right? Like, I don't really, didn't really care for it. So it was a way to kind of say things without being judged. But people were like, oh, you wear a mask, you're hiding something. You're like, your teeth are all rotten, I bet. Look at my teeth. Perfect teeth. What are you talking about? Now they're real quiet. Nobody's saying anything about my teeth. So people love to judge. But sometimes I was a kid. I would hear the teacher say, when you point a finger, you have like all these other fingers pointing at you. So a lot of projections in this world. People like to project. I'm going to finish my meal in peace. Maybe have a nap after soccer. I'm going to get back at it. I'll see you guys soon, okay? Thank you. Delicious. Okay, so I'm going to finish the rest of this rice. Gonna make some potatoes for dinner. Same deal as lunch. Just cut them up. No need for spices or anything. And that's gonna go with the rest of the rice. The potatoes are ready. There we go. Beautiful meal. Some potatoes with the salt-free sauce and the leftover rice. There's a lesson to be learned with pets, right? If people have dogs or you have cats, they eat pretty much the same food every day and they're grateful. So that's what I want to do, learn from the animals, study nature, and be grateful. Thank you so much for this meal. And for dessert, I'm going to have some date paste. Just cutting up a slice. Nice little date paste. There we go. Nice little treat, little piece of dessert. All right, guys, check this out. This is bacon. Ingredients: bacon, salt, and preservatives. And check this out: carbs, of which sugars. There's like sugar in the. So there's carbs in bacon. And this too, there's like dextrose. See that? Like in the ingredients, dextrose. So there's like carbs in meat. That's funny. You know how people say they're low carb? Yeah, it's kind of low, very low carb. But all of these have sugars. And what's the ingredients? It's just, okay, they put sugar in this. Funny. Um, Interesting. Bacon. No gluten, no lactose. And then in the ingredients, you got glucose syrup. Love it. What about this? Little bacon rashes. Yeah, carbs. Carbs, man. They put dextrose in the bacon. And people are like, oh yeah, it tastes really good. Yeah, it's got carbs in it, guys. Whoa, this one's got a lot of carbs. Even these hamburger patties have carbs. I checked them out. That's got carbs. That's like lamb. Sugars. And it's really just like frozen lamb. I don't know if you can see that, but there is sugars. And that's just frozen lamb.
I'm a level 5 vegan. Carbs, calm the fuck up, motherfuckers. Calm the fuck up. Rice, potatoes, yams, bananas, mangoes, dates, plantains, melons, blueberries, blackberries, malls. Skip them motherfucking carbohydrates. Eat your vegan motherfuckers. Calm the fuck up,